from the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast.
Today on AgDay, a look at a year of wildfires.
As we come down to the end of the 2017 wildfire season, we're in near record territory.
We'll look at some of the biggest fires that scorched farm country.
When I'm third generation rancher, first time we've ever had anything like this happen.
Destroying homes, scarring land, and shaking lives.
I don't know if you call them fireballs, fire tornadoes, whatever you call them. They would whirl around and they'd hit the truck.
In the future of the cow herd, how long will it take to rebuild?
Some of those cows that were in harm's way, we're just now preg checking them.
AgDay, presented by the Chevy Silverado. High-strength steel for high-strength dependability.
Good morning, I'm Clinton Griffiths. 2017 will be remembered as one of the most destructive and costliest years for natural disasters in U.S. history. We've witnessed 3 major hurricanes in this country: Harvey, Irma, and Maria. Those are easy to remember due to their scope and size. But do you remember the tornado outbreak in early March that hit the Midwest? Or how about that April and May flooding in Missouri and Arkansas? And there was the lingering drought that turned Montana into kindling and North Dakota fields and pastures into parched land. All of those are billion-dollar disasters as measured by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. While numbers are still being tallied, there are at least $17 billion natural disasters in the U.S. this year. Several of those major disasters involved wildfires this year, and some are still burning. And that's where we'll focus our attention this morning. According to the National Interagency Fire Center, wildfires have charred just over 9.5 million acres of U.S. vegetation, including not only forest, but grazing and ranch land. That total puts 2017 as one of the most active wildfire seasons ever.
We're in near record territory. We've seen more than 9.5 million acres burned nationally. And only 2 other years in recent history have topped that. Just 2 years ago, we got to about 10.1 million acres. And then back in 2006, we ended the season with about 9.9 million acres.
California breaking its own state records in 2017 with wildfires alone. AccuWeather forecasting the state's wildfire season will cost $180 billion. The California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection says 115 separate fires, each at least 300 acres in size, rolled through the state this year. Some of the largest damage came in October in wine country, and now the so-called Thomas Fire in 2 counties just outside Los Angeles.
Somebody came around honking their horn like just crazy. I was just like, what is going on? And I don't know what inspired me to look out my bedroom window, because it's in the back of the house and the car was in the front of the house, but I drew my blinds and I just saw flames all up on the hill behind my house.
Wildfires torched more than 1 million acres in Montana this year. All Montana counties were approved for emergency haying and grazing through the CRP program. 53 of the state's 56 counties have been declared either primary or contiguous disaster areas. As a result, Montana is still plagued with drought. Roughly 3/4 of the state is abnormally dry. More than half is considered moderate drought, while over 30% is ranked a severe drought. And in South Dakota, more than 54,000 acres of land in Custer State Park burned just 2 weeks ago. It was started by a downed power line. Park rangers are asking people to help neighboring farmers and ranchers who lost grazing lands and hay. The park is known for its large herd of bison, burros, and elk. Some animals got caught in the fire. Due to their injuries, several had to be euthanized. Unfortunately, a similar scenario played out across the Southern Plains last March when wildfires erupted in Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Colorado. More than 1.5 million acres burned in 3 days' time. Thousands of head of cattle got caught in the fast-moving flames. Veterinarians were pressed into action to put down those animals. Now, 9 months later, Betsy Gibbon returns to Clark County, Kansas, to visit with one veterinarian who is helping ranching families rebuild their herds.
Another day, another stop for Dr. Randall Spare as the Ashland veterinarian conducts pregnancy checks for winter calving.
Some of those cows that were in harm's way, we're just now preg checking them.
This year, there's heightened concern following the wildfires in March that burned the majority of Clark County, Kansas.
95% of the cattle were lost off at 9 ranches.
Despite the destruction and cattle losses, Dr. Spare says today's numbers are right where he expects.
Tremendous gift for these producers, because reproductive efficiency is still the #1 predictor of profitability in a ranch.
Yet there are some problems. Some of the cows suffered hoof and even udder problems.
There's been continued to be a number of orphan calves just because those cows didn't produce milk.
Calves born earlier in the year seem to be doing well.
Now those calves that were being born during the fire weighing 500 and 600 pounds. They've had a tremendous summer.
Dr. Spare says rebuilding in this area will take time, as some of the ranchers pride themselves on high-end genetics.
Genetics are very important to us, so we don't want to we can't replace it with just what we had with just anything.
30,000 acres of this ranch in Ashland, Kansas burned in less than 2 hours. Half of the cow herd gone with it.
We are purchased some bred heifers that will have calve out this winter. Then after that, our plan is just to restock from within and holding back more heifers.
Others like Bernie Smith in Beaver County, Oklahoma, had cows donated to him and purchased some through auctions.
The area has started restocking. It'll take some time, and it'll probably take years because we're going to have to let the grass get seeded back. And now if we can have a good winter and good spring, maybe next year we'll be closer to normal.
It's that willingness to get back to normalcy, helping drive producers and Dr. Spare forward.
We still base everything that we do on what happened on March the 6th. It kind of defines us, but it's created tremendous thankfulness in our hearts towards the lives that we have, to the people that have given us gifts of hay and money.
Reporting for AgDay, I'm Betsy Gibbon.
All right, thanks, Betsy. When we come back, we'll introduce you to a Texas firefighter who is facing his own battles after the flames ceased, and 3 sisters with one bond who lost everything in the fire except their passion for the range.
Ag Day, brought to you by Top Third Ag Marketing. Farmer first with a plan for every market.
The numbers are startling from the fires in the Southern Plains last March. More than 10,000 head of cattle perished in those fires, and more than 18,000 miles of fence was lost to the ferocious flames. While healing is happening today, the scars are still there, both on the land and on the lives who fought hard to save their property, livestock, and homes. The wind is an ever-present companion among the hard landscapes of the northern panhandle of Texas. As gusts ripple softly across an endless carpet of grass, Cody Graves is still standing in the memories of March.
The wind was howling, and just a black wall.
Cody, a working cowboy near Lipscomb, Texas, is also a volunteer firefighter.
Everybody woke up. The whole fire department called each other and said, keep your eyes out because this is not a good day. And the humidity was 0 and the wind was blowing 45, 50 miles an hour.
Good rains brought good grass last spring and plenty of fuel for the fury that would follow.
And I was sitting at fires, but it was a ways away from us for a little bit. The wind changed, and then that's when our fire department got called out. It was terrible. There was tornadoes in that fire.
Even visible from passenger planes above, the fire now racing across the prairie.
I said, there is no way we can do anything about this. We could have 100 trucks that couldn't stop this.
They fought anyway, doing all they could, saving houses, cutting fences, freeing livestock, all while nearly losing their own fire station in the process.
It's a master lock that was on that storage building outside. People that's been fighting fire longer than I have were scared and didn't know what to do.
The hours and the acres burned on.
That fire started Monday, and it was Tuesday morning about 3 o'clock in the morning, and we got called to another fire.
In the smoke and the tiredness, Cody's fire truck slipped off an embankment.
It kind of jarred me a little bit, and it was hurting pretty bad, and but we couldn't stop.
15 hours later, those trucks were parked, but Cody's next steps would be his hardest.
It was about a week after the fire. I couldn't walk very well, and it was just wasn't sleeping, and so I figured I'd just go get it checked out, and here we are.
His diagnosis, severe damage to his spine. A problem that's not new. As a young man, an accident left him in a similar situation. Doctors said he'd likely never walk again. Well, he proved them wrong. This time seems different. His back is in tangles. This cowboy's doing more sitting than roping. Walking is hard, working and writing impossible.
Trying to find peace, it's kind of hard when you can't go out and play with the kids a little bit. And the boys are taking it kind of rough.
He passes the time with his hands, reflecting on the fires still burning through his thoughts, knowing he's the lucky one.
Friends of mine got killed in McLean, and I knew the kid that got killed here outside of Lipscomb, and it was a tragic deal. I mean, when you hear of a fire taking lives, you wish you could have done more and helped more.
And yet, help has lifted his spirits.
I mean, it was very humbling, and I mean, I had grown men cried, and people that usually helped other people didn't know how to take the help, but it humbled them in a way. It makes you proud to live in this country after seeing all the people that come together.
A community helping to restore lives, supporting each other, rebuilding the future. Like the rains that soaked these blackened fields, that spirit helps new life spring forth, rooted and resilient. All right, when we return, one rancher's memory caught on a wheat field as the fire approached. Hear her story next.
AgDay, brought to you by Prosaro Fungicide from Bayer.
The Kansas wildfires did not discriminate as they left a path of ruins in Ashland, Kansas. In its track, a 30,000-acre ranch owned and operated by one family, three sisters with an inseparable bond. Betsy Gibbons showing us how the sisters are picking themselves back up again and moving on after the flames have ceased.
Spanning 30,000 acres in Ashland, Kansas, lies the Giles Ranch. Homesteaded in the 1940s, today 3 sisters represent the next generation.
I have always wanted to do this. I've always wanted to be a cowboy. That's what.
To Jenny, Katie, and Molly and their families, March 6, 2017 is a day that nearly stole their future here, when reckless wildfires charged through Kansas and onto their ranch.
But the way the wind was, we just thought it would clip the northwest part and that would be it.
3 sisters, 1 fire, their homes burned, and a lifetime of memories consumed.
My house is being built. We hope to move in by Christmas.
Rebuilding may bring a fresh start, but life before the blaze sits like a memorial, a wooden playset somehow untouched by the flames, an office foundation, the charred tailgate of a trusty old farm pickup, and 100 miles of fencing burned to the ground.
And we lost about half our cow herd. By far and the most, losing the cows was the hardest.
The fire became a reality all too soon when Katie tried to save some cattle.
And I got a phone call from Jenny as I was hooking the trailer. She said, "You've got to get out of there." So I finished unhooking the trailer and sped out of there. Well, at that point, the fire was all around me.
Yet the message was clear: to get to the nearest wheat field. A struggle for the lifelong rancher as she saw pregnant cows in the path of the blaze.
I had my wire pliers right there, and it had been real easy to just go let them out through that gate and onto the wheat fields.
Katie sat on the wheat field as the fire blew closer.
Fireballs, fire tornadoes, whatever you call them, they would whirl around and they'd hit the truck. My thoughts running through my head was, well, this is what it's like when you're gonna die. I just kept praying, and I just said, God, if you can get me through this, I want to see my little girl at her graduation, at her wedding, and my son at his graduation and at his wedding.
Since that day, calves have been born, grass is showing new growth, and a new baby is on the way for Katie and her family this December.
Because we were done having kids and now have another one coming.
A family that's lost everything, standing together through life's hardships.
When everything that you have is gone, it's a pretty surreal feeling the next day to wake up and know that not only is your home gone, but your business is gone. Your family members' homes are gone. But then so many people from so many walks of life came and helped us.
Thankfully, the Giles sisters are still tough and resilient, continuing to build toward the future, just like the cowboys who came before them.
All right, up next, a rancher who's a fire chief remembers the day which forever changed his community and ranch.
AgDay, brought to you by new Delaro fungicide for corn and soybeans. Achieve personal best yields.
Ranchers are living with the reality of life after these fires. The area is rebuilding, life is moving on, but the experiences of that disaster remain raw. Photojournalist Russ Natusco shares some stories through the lens of his camera.
It was just a historic day. The fire danger was so high that day. You just tried to save the people, and then after the fire went through and we got some help, then we went back to see what was left. We had never lost a house to a grass fire until that day, and I think we lost 15. And this house we could not protect. We had to bypass it to go to town. Everything that we see here burned, and it pretty much killed all of our tree rows. Okay, this is some donated hay that came in about probably a month after the fire. This is just a stack yard. This is one of many that we have scattered around the county for anyone that needs it. Most people stayed, but we did have some that left. And here we are pulling up to the firehouse. This was our base through the whole fire. I just want our volunteers to get their day. I am extremely proud. We got guys from, our youngest is 18, our oldest is maybe in his 70s, and they never backed up. We have started rebuilding the herd. I've had some donated. I've purchased some cows through the auctions. That's the way I've done mine.
We just heard about the fire and everything, and we just volunteered to come out here and help these people.
The fencing is pretty challenging, but we're gaining right along on it.
We built a mile yesterday and a mile the day before. It's pretty good for just old country bumpkins from Tennessee.
We have hopes to have it all done by early spring or maybe even by the first of the year.
We're just proud to be here.
I was very proud of America, the way they come in and helped us out. But not only did they bring hay, they brought hope. And this fire was a large fire, and it was a really mean fire. It moved fast and didn't care what it burned. But I think that we should be thankful for being where we're at today. It's been a really good bad experience.
Ahead, one rancher shares his gratitude for the support Farm Country provided. That's next.
Receive a free trial of the Daily Grain Plan newsletter from Roach Ag Marketing. Text Roach to 31313. Start your subscription today by texting Roach to 31313.
In the country. Brought to you by Kubota. See the all-new Commander Pro zero-turn mower at Kubota.com or visit your local Kubota dealer today.
Welcome back. Now, many of you made the trek and delivered supplies to ranchers in these locations of need. Individuals, churches, farm groups, and young farmer organizations donated fencing supplies, hay, even cattle, and their time to ranchers impacted. And those farmers say they have so much gratitude for support from Farm Country.
I was very proud of America, the way they come in and helped us out. There's a lot of turmoil right now in America, but yeah, anyone that doubted America should have been here the weeks following the fire and seen the people.
Giving back, because that's what agriculture does. Let's hope for less need in a new year. That's all the time we have this morning. Thank you for joining us during this special edition of Ag Day. For all of us here at Ag Day, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Have a great day in farm country.
Ag Day, brought to you by Ram Commercial, America's longest lasting heavy-duty pickups.